Alright, I've just spent the last 5 minutes looking for the fabric for block 11, only to realise it's in the book. So that was fun. Okay, block 11. I've also learnt that I don't need to pause it, although we should probably get that out of the way. Maybe I should just use... I have to charge my phone when I do this because I never remember to charge it otherwise. So if I zoom in like that, I can take a photo. Can I take a photo? Maybe I pause it and then take a photo. Yeah, I pause it and then take a photo, and then I can zoom back out, and then that helps me work out where I am later. Okay. Block 11, Crossroads to Jericho. What do we need to know about it? It's a standard seam, so we don't have to fiddle with that. Press to the darker side. Okay, we're cutting straight off of that, so we're going to iron first, like always. So we've got A7 and A9. That's our fabrics. What do we have here? We've got some white fabric. Some flop on that one. We've got, that's probably what we're going to cut into triangles. And then we have these. Alright, I'm going to iron this and then I'll be back. Alright, we're back with irons. They're the same size, they're the same size, these are the same size. Cut the two 4 inch by 4 inch. That's these guys. Yep. Diagonally, well, of A7, that's A7. Diagonally. Be very careful these triangles as so not to change their shape as the diagonal line is on the bias and the risk is of stretching. Handle them as little as possible. Keep them neat and flat until use. Okay. Too small. So many rules here. Alright, I'm going to cut them. Now, I don't ever cut, unless I've cut them off the fabric as a pair, I try not to cut diagonals because I'm just not that neat at it. So how do you do this with the camera there and the lump in my mat that I still have not fixed, which I feel like I mentioned in every video, and I probably should just go and fix it, but haven't. Okay, so if your cutting is correct, then you should be able to use the 45 degree, which is that line there. That also requires you to hold it correctly when you're cutting it. So I kind of start with that, and then, look, I'm not gonna. I think I just know sometimes when that's not gonna work for me. And I reckon today's one of those times, so I'm gonna do my best to cut that as straight as possible. Is it fiddly? Yes. Do I like it? No. Do I get it right? No. Do I think that ultimately matters? Depends how wrong you are. Alright, that's pretty good. And then we'll do it again. I think I just find it easier not to bother with the 45 on those ones. Okay. Alright, we've got soft fabric, cut of the bias. Not great. So I do agree with the instructions to play with those as little as possible. So we're gonna just use the other side of the mat. We'll leave them up there. Happy days. Okay, what have we got? Following the strip piecing method, which we know very well, put this one like this, and by deduction, this one like this. Alright, well, we know how to do that, so opposite ways, we're all good at this. We're making a 9 patch square for the middle. 9 patch is not dissimilar to what we've just done on block 10. Okay. I don't think we need to see me pin this or do anything, so I'll be back when I have this done and this done. Alright, actually here's a tip. How do you know, so on the, when you're doing lots of strips, you sew opposite sides so that it doesn't distort. How do you know if you've done that, right? Because we're moving things around. On my machine, I got tails on the sides that I've cut from, which means that's the end of it. So these ones I've sewn exactly the same, and then this one, I'm going to sew it this way, and then my tails will be opposite. So I'll come back with opposite tails. Okay, now I use the scissors on my machine, the cutter. So obviously this only works if you've got automatic thread cutters. So you can see they're opposites. I've obviously not ironed them. And you can see these are the same. So I obviously do a ton of side quests between what I start and what I finish, and that's your indicator. So it's a pretty good tip. If your cutter's not working or you don't have one, then leave a telltale sign on one of your seams. So one of like your directions. That way you can come back at any point in time and know which way is the best way to sew it. All right, they're ironed now. And does it make a huge amount of difference if you don't go opposites? At some point, yeah, it will. And it also depends on your fabric. So on the log cabin, if you know how that we didn't have any white fabric in the middle, that would have made a difference if we were sewing always in the same direction as opposed to around that one. Because this fabric will pull, like especially, you know, when we do that one, it'll distort. So yeah, mildly insignificant here, significance builds. Okay, I skipped a step, so I've got to go cut this in half. So 2 4-inch, we've done that. Either side of a 9, that's the 9. Cut the strips as shown in half to make 2 times 5. We're going to have to make 2 times 5 inches. That's weird, it hasn't given you a half measurement. So it's 2. 2 inch by 2 inch. I missed the second 2. It's a 2 inch. And because of that is 5 inches this way, if I show you, I can't use my little ruler. Sad face, I like my little ruler. It's exactly 4, so I'm not going to try and square this up. I'm just going to go off that line and then sort of center off these two. And of course I'm going to stand up to do this. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. There, and there. I've used there. Well, now I'm out of camera. Doesn't matter. Let's just put you back to so you can see everything. All right. And now we're making a 9 patch. So that's that. 9 patch. We're gonna go like that, and then like that, and then iron, and then we'll be ready for these. Now, because I already know how I like to do my triangles, I'm ironing these while I sew them. I'm going to take these at the same time, and I'm going to fold them in half, and then I'm going to iron this line here so that when I attach them to these, because I'll also find the midway points, but I'll do it with the iron. So this one says mark with a pin. I'm just going to do it with the iron. So I'm going to come back to these all sewn and then my midpoints found. Do you need me to show you how to do that? I don't know. I might come back sooner. All right, finding your midpoint. There are 2 ways to do it, at least that I know. I will do it on both ways. I think we've done this on the community quilt, but I'm just going to do it on this as well. So you got 2 options that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's 1,000 ways to do this. You can either do your entire block and find your midpoint. Now that's great if your block is neat and tidy and fabulous. If it's not, and sometimes what I do is I take the centerpiece fabric, the block in the middle, the piece in the middle, and I use that as my midpoint, because at least then it's centered to that, you know, this one where it's potentially going to be obvious. The technique I use will ultimately depend on what I'm trying to square up to. Now, do I think it matters this one if it's squared to here or to here. No. If this was I don't know, if there was more of an impact here or design lines in here, then yeah, maybe I would, you know, switch and swap my methods. But I don't really, there's no rules on this one. I don't know. I only do what feels right to me. You do what feels right to you. All right, I've pinned my midpoints just so that they can be seen because I'm not sure how well that translates on camera. Where if I push you there and zoom in a little bit? Right, so find the midpoints, pin them. Cool, we've done that. Sew a triangle to either side of the 9 patch, aligning the middle points. So there, my triangles. My midpoints have been very, very marked on them. So if I take the pin out, because I don't normally use the pins, can we see this? Yeah. So you can see the iron mark there and the iron mark there, and I kind of just line it up and it looks like a seam. Now, when I first did triangles, this confused me. And if you use like an Quilt cutter, they cut the tips off. So it feels a bit weird because it's bigger, right? But I'll do it with, you're not supposed to handle these extra. If you fold it back up, you need your triangle, once you put the 1/4 inch seam on it, to end at the tip of your square. So that's why you get this overhang, and that's why you need to match the middles. For anyone who wasn't quite aware of, you know, why are you putting something in the center that you've already cut perfectly? Because you're not matching it's not like a square. I don't know how else to explain it. Go look up a YouTube video that explains the weird ways of quilting. All right, because it's flimsy, I will pin. And I will do both of them. Ooh, lost a pin. While I'm here, because that's just makes it a bit easier for me. I think the quality of your iron really, really matters. Obviously, get the best you can afford. Mum is fortunate that she has the one I have, and I have a Cricut one. It's the little baby mini Cricut press. I have the medium-sized one as well, which that one I mainly use for vinyls and stuff. But can I bring it? Oh, I'm probably going to tip over. So it has a tip. That's the base plate. It's got no steam. I was always told you don't use steam when you're quilting, so I don't use steam. But this is beautiful for getting nice crisp finishes. This point helps fold the seams out. So I don't know if anyone's interested. That's what I use. I'll see if I can find a link. I don't know. Well, we obviously buy most of our crap from Spotlight or Echidna Sewing. I think I'll find you a link and I'll put it in the little, I don't know, description box thingy. Not really sure you're supposed to put links. Okay, I'm going to sew this and then I'll be back. Okay, we're back. So this is what I meant before, that your 1/4 inch seam needs to finish so you still have a triangle shape. So that's why you end up with these little, I don't actually know what they're called. Nuggly bits. I always have lots of nuggly bits. Okay, I don't normally trim those off, but let me just double check. Matching the middle points, stretch out the triangle pieces, open press, trim down the whole block. No, she doesn't cut them off either. Okay. I don't cut these off because the moment I do, I find I have a mistake and it's quite hard to come back from for me when I cut those off. So this fabric is very fine in terms of the print on it, so make sure you have the right side. Now my 9 blocks not quite even there, so I'm going to line it up to the whites for the majority of this, in terms of pinning it down, just making sure that it's not going to miss catching those. That we're good. I'll do the same thing and I'll do it on both sides. When I sew this, I keep the bottom bit under just a little bit of tension so it stays straight, and I go right up with my finger to the presser foot to keep this straight so it doesn't sort of kick off. That takes a little bit of courage, but also your presser foot's like a good half an inch away from the needle, so you will be fine. I say that with utmost confidence because I have already put a sewing machine or an embroidery machine needle through my finger and had plastic surgery to remove it. So yeah, don't stress. It actually doesn't hurt that much. But you do need to go to the hospital if you do that, unless the entire thing's come out, and then if it's all come out, I still think you might need a tetanus shot. I'm not a medical professional, so don't take my word for it. It's a very cool story to tell people though, and it's a very cool picture. I don't know how to insert pictures like fancy people do. I'm still learning how to use all of this. That'll be fine. Alright, I'm gonna go sew those. But if I do ever work out how to like do a little burst, I'll put my x-rays in. Alright, and there we have it. That'll all get trimmed off, it'll sit nicely. But that is, yeah, it's up the right way. That is block 11. And with that, that is fabric pack 1 from the block of the month done, because yeah, the next one uses fabric pack B. So we can close that for a minute. Open up all of this. Alright, so by the time you get to this block, Mum, you will have made, let me get this block out of the way, block 1, Amish bars. Block 2, I've got a rail fence. Maybe I'll get the ball back. Yeah, rail fence. Block 3, a 9 patch square. Block 4, a checkerboard. Block 5, the infamous and very lengthy log cabin. Block 6, the simple cross. Block 7, simple cross variation. Block 8, corner tiles. Oh. They all went in frame. Oh well, you get the point. And block 10, well, we skipped block 9, no fabric. Block 10, checkerboard variation. And block 11, crossroads to Jericho. Well done, Mum. We are on to fabric pack B, which is these ones. It's going to be very nice. They're very cute. And our first block is going to introduce us to half square triangles. The traditional way, not the quilting, not the community quilt way. And we're going to make broken dishes. See you for block 12.